Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil. And in this video, guys, what I want to do today is talk about Jedi Master Luke. We're going to go in and actually talk about the order that I would farm his requirements in. I did a similar video to this for Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, so I will link that in the description down below. If you guys haven't seen that already, go check it out. I was thinking of some things to do for you guys, right? You know, the content in the game right now, kind of stale without Grand Arena, waiting for the new territory battle, which I'm sure there'll be a ton of videos, so I cannot wait for that. But in the meantime, I thought I'd do some videos talking about the Galactic Legends and the order I would farm their requirements in, because I do think that there is a lot of different methodologies, right? Some people like to go for the highest relics first, others the lowest. I'm going to show you guys what I think, which is farming the right teams at the right time, building up the squads that make sense, guys. So with that said, let's get into this video, and first and foremost, we must first pay homage to our King, Wampa. And we are going to say that even though you are not always in our team, you are always in our hearts. Guys, we're trying to hit 1,900 subscribers by the end of this month. So if you guys haven't already, smash that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment. Let's get into the video here. All right, so these are the first 5 characters you want to build for this farm, right? These are the 5 most important characters that I think you can build for this team. And the reason I say that is because Darth Vader is your first relic, right? He is a team onto himself for GAC, territory wars. Even in territory battles, this man can solo some of those waves, right? But then next, you're building Commander Luke, Han, Chewbacca, and 3PO and Chewie. This is the backbone of that Commander Luke team. This team is so good. And one of the reasons I say that you can farm these guys first is because you are going to build, this is not going to be your first GL. Right, that's my assumption. You have to make assumptions when you do this, guys. And my assumption is that, you know, Jedi Master Luke will not be your first Galactic Legend. You know, Chewbacca is a legendary. He requires bounty hunters. Han is a raid reward. Commander Luke has very easy recs, but he's still a, you know, legendary character, right? But the thing is, these characters are so good. Like, bounty hunters are so good. You should be farming them early that it shouldn't be that hard for you to be able to get these characters, right? And the other thing I want to note is that the Millennium Falcon is in the Journey Guide, right? And it's another kind of like legendary event that you need the bounty hunter ships for, right? So my recommendation, guys, is that the same characters that you are using to, like, you could use Boba, Bosk, IG-88, and Cad Bane, right? Like, those are characters that you can use to not only unlock Chewbacca, but that you can use to unlock the Falcon. Now, I wouldn't recommend all of just those guys because, you know, Boba, Cad Bane, and IG-88 aren't the greatest, like, squad characters, but their ships are so important that it's definitely worth giving them some, you know, gear. But, yeah, that's the first 5 characters I would build, guys. This is going to give you 2 solid teams for GAC because Vader, again, is a team onto himself. All right, so the next one we want to look at, you're going to build our King, right? Wampa with his Omicron, guys, is just so good and so important that I really, really recommend that you build that early. And then you're going to want to build C-3PO, another legendary character, right? You've got to remember that this farm is extremely expensive, right? There's a lot of stuff in here. Wampa's Guild Event Currency 1, C-3PO, another legendary character. The thing is, C-3PO makes that Commander Luke team so much better that it's really worth getting him early. You do need him for Jedi Knight Luke as well, so it's kind of one of those things where you're building those Jedi Knight Luke requirements early, which is where Lando comes into play, right? Need him for Jedi Knight Luke. But then with Wedge and Biggs, they make a decent team with Lando for GAC, right? Especially in the early game, like, this is a half-decent team for GAC. It's the start of something pretty good. But they're pilots, and there is a fleet mission inside of the Jedi Knight Luke event. And with the relic pilots, it just makes life a lot easier. So even though they're not, like, legitimate requirements for Jedi Knight Luke, I don't think it's going to hurt you to relic them a little bit early and make that fleet mission easier. That's what I did, and I felt I did, you know, really, really well. I'd normally say, like, oh, skip them until the end, get Jedi Knight Luke early, but I think those relics will pay off, as Biggs is one of the good, important pilots for a Rebel fleet. Wedge is a decent reinforcement. I'm not going to say he's the greatest, but he can be a decent reinforcement. He does some nice things. So those would be the next 5 characters I would build. Alright, and then it's time to get Jedi Knight Luke. The Jedi Knight Luke is so good. And so these are the next three characters, right? Between Hermit Yoda, Rebel Officer Leia Organa, and Captain Han. Those are the last three characters you need to get Jedi Knight Luke. Old Ben is here because you want to build him up so that you can use additional Jedi, right? And maybe break Jedi Knight Luke off from like a Jedi Knight Revan team or something and use Old Ben with him. Jedi Knight Luke can be a team unto himself at times. There's a lot of stuff that he can beat. He's just really, really good. So what I would recommend doing here, right? Get these characters, get Jedi Knight Luke, and then get Old Ben, right? Get Old Ben up. It's going to give you a lot of viability. It's going to give you a lot of additional things that you can do here. So, you've now got, when you think if you stop right here, right, we're 15 characters into this farm. You've got 3 Jedi that you can use together. You've got your full Commander Luke team. You've got another full team of Rebels that you can use like Wedge lead or Rolo lead with, right? You've got these guys right here. You've got Wampa for Grand Arena, who is a team onto himself, and Darth Vader, who is a team onto himself. So you've given yourself, a couple of different options right here that you can use in multiple game modes. And this is how you need to paint this picture, right? You need to understand how this all comes together, that this is personally the way that I would go through it, right, for those first characters. You get Jedi Knight Luke as kind of that pit stop along the way to Jedi Master Luke. And then you need the finishing touches, right? These are the last 4 characters that I would build for Jedi Master Luke. The way I think of it, guys, right, like Jedi Training Rey and R2-D2 are decent if you have BB-8. If you don't have BB-8, then they're not really worth, R2-D2 is kind of this weird, he's got a lot of tags, right? You can put him in a lot of different teams, but he's kind of like this oddball. Like, he's really lost, I think, his place. Like, he needs a solid place in the game right now, and I think maybe under shorty droids he could find it, but again, he just is in this weird place. So if you're like me and you had a BB-8 built up from something else, right, by all means, put him in with Jedi Training Rey and R2 because they can be very good. But otherwise, guys, I would just, wait until the end, right? Same thing with Mon Mothma. Unless you've got that star power Kyle Katarn, Cara Dune, Hoth Rebel Scout, and Pow, ready to go, I'd just save her for the end. The Rebel fighters, like Biggs, Wedge, and Lando, they're alright, but they're not really that good with her, right? That team doesn't really get a lot of holds. It's just like a defensive team that you can throw down and hope that it gets something, right? But it's not really that great. So I kind of save her for the end, along with Princess Leia. Princess Leia has her uses, right? You can find ways to use her. I just don't recommend it. I don't think that she's got a lot of viability in the game right now, which is unfortunate. Because there was a lot of hate for Rebel Officer Leia Organa, but now with her territory battle Omicron, is it in here or this one? Yeah, this one. Her Omicron is just so good for territory battles that I really think that building her, obviously you need her for Jedi Knight Luke anyway, but she's a decent character now, so you can get some other use out of her, whereas Princess Leia kind of just really without a home right now. Under the Akbar Omicron, she can do some nice things with hers, but I really don't think that this is necessary, right? It's just not something that I think is groundbreaking at the current time. But yeah, guys, just in summary, right, my recommendation for Galactic Legends is you want to build teams, right? You want to build stuff that's going to give you options for Grand Arena, Territory Wars, and Territory Battles, because you never, it sounds so silly, right, but this Wedge, Biggs, Lando, they've gotten me holds in 3v3 GAC, right? I've gotten holds with Rebel Officer Leia Organa, Captain Han, and R2-D2 or somebody. You can get holds with these guys as long as you build them up. So that's my recommendation for you guys. Hopefully you're enjoying the content, guys. Hopefully this helps you build Jedi Master Luke in a way that gets you the best things early and saves some of those, horrendous farms towards the end when you're just excited to get Jedi Master Luke. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. I love every single one of you. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.